Hi all, my name is Haley Comment and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology and today, love, romance, and how to attract them your way using the potent energy of the June 2020 Venus retrograde. I know it's possible because I did it myself, the last Venus retrograde in fall 2018. So I'm going to share a story time from my experiences that fall, as well as share how you yourself can use this time to make peace with your past and set down a solid foundation for your future. So let's take it back, fall 2018, when Venus was retrograde in Scorpio and then Libra. So that Venus retrograde, with it in Scorpio, it was a very kind of psychological look at how we related with other people because it was in Libra. And the retrograde period started with a dream that the first love of my life, the first real boyfriend, was dating a girl from my high school who was one of my best friends, and she started dating a guy I was dating in high school right after I broke up with him. And I hadn't thought about that in so long. I mean, high school drama, I mean, really, like, I'm at peace with it. It's all good. But at the time, it was earth-shattering. Waking up from that dream, it was just this realization, like, wow, that really did leave an impact on me. Oftentimes, when we're just kind of bulldozing through our life, we can forget that psychologically we have marks that kind of mark the way that we're able to relate to people in the future. And I'd never really thought about it until that dream. And then I realized, oh, even as an adult, even though I thought I was over that incident, I separate who I'm dating with my friend group. Subconsciously, probably because I'm fearful that having them too closely intermixed, that if we were to break up, one of my good friends would date him afterward. So having these two people date who were from different parts of my life and would never meet was just an illustration that my past affects my future. So with that kicking off my Venus retrograde, it was kind of this exploration into patterns that I've grown accustomed to in my dating world. So that dream really shaped into focus, like, okay, maybe it's time to do some kind of house cleaning and heal the parts of me that clearly, haven't totally been healed all the way, and being gentle with myself in that process. So I had this commitment. I was committed to really making this a time of self-love and digging within, because Venus retrograde is potent for self-love, for pulling the focus inward. Yet I was receiving way more romantic attention than ever before. And I think that was because energetically, when you are just putting all your energy into yourself, that's when you're the most magnetic. People feel that and they are drawn to you. So suddenly, when I didn't want to date, everybody suddenly wanted to date me. And I was like, what is going on? So I am a proponent of, yes, know the cosmos, understand the cosmos, but don't pause your entire life for the cosmos. So it's like, okay, what if one of these guys is a soulmate or has a lesson to teach me? Let me just date a few of them. So I went on a couple of dates and I was really noticing patterns. I was like, okay, this is a new person, yet this pattern is something that I remember from my past. And during these dates, I became aware that they were exhibiting behaviors that I disliked from previous relationships. For example, one of my previous ex-boyfriends had a bit of an anger problem, and I found it very unattractive and sometimes scary. And one of the guys I went on a date with at this time, at the first date we went on, had like a temper tantrum about something. We were at a restaurant and the service and stuff, and past me probably would have been like, oh, you got to give him a chance. I'm a romantic Pisces, right? So you got to give him a chance, open your heart. But during this time, I was like, wait, no, I've done this before. I've learned from this. Why would I date someone who exhibits this, who feels comfortable exhibiting this behavior on the first date? So I kind of let go of that relationship, and then I ended up going on another date with another person who I believe on the second date was 25 minutes late. And that was a behavior that I detested in someone that I had dated earlier in the year. So at that point, I was like, okay, no, I'm done. Remember, Venus is about our value system. If you've identified a value that you want in a partner, why would you stand for it? So I stopped dating him as well. It was this amazing journey of dating people who were new, but exhibited behaviors that were reminiscent of my past and kind of forced me to remember my past. And I did have like ex encounters, like messages and things like that. But rather than approaching it from this lens of, oh my gosh, she texted me, maybe we can restart this union, I approached it from, what did I learn from this relationship? That one was very psychological. So it was like, how did that relationship imprint me? How did I learn about my value system in the process of this relationship? And will I stand for it going forward? So you may find during the course of Venus retrograde, whether you date people who remind you of your exes or you actually get, feedback from your exes, you may have to process past hurts. Could also occur in the dream world, as that it started as my Venus retrograde journey. And no, I don't believe that you should, ignore everyone. Just be like, this is about self-love and I'm going to ignore you all, because clearly I didn't. I went on the dates. I read the text messages. Rather than approaching it from a lens of, is this my soulmate? Is this going to fix everything? Approaching it from a growth perspective of, what can I learn from this? What did I learn from this if it's something from the past? Do I like this behavior? And is this something that I value in a partner? And being with the energy this year, it's in Gemini. So being very thoughtful, very mentally objective about it. Just looking back, maybe it would be a beautiful time to have a journal and write down the dreams that come in, the people that you date, what they remind you of, and how you process your past hurts. As minor as these things are, like in my example, it was from high school, like it wasn't a big deal. Everything leaves a mark on you. And if you're kind of accumulating all of this kind of resentment, all of these fears, it could like poison your future interactions. So doing the work to make peace with them. So after that dream, I kind of made peace with it and decided, no, like that doesn't necessarily have to happen. Maybe I could just vocalize to my friends that I wouldn't appreciate if they dated the people I dated after. And I don't think any of my friends would do that anyway. So it's a really unfounded fear. Using the mental objective energy of Gemini to process all of the kind of romantic data that comes in to make peace with the past. Maybe it's like writing down like a poem about the relationship and setting on fire. Whatever your soul needs to cope. Maybe it's like going through their belongings and getting it out. Whatever you need to clear space for something new. So with Venus retrograde, it's not a potent time of starting a new relationship. I'm not going to say, you should ignore every person that comes your way. Stars, Moon, and Sun, Danielle on Twitter had an awesome thread about this. How we can't use astrology to dictate our lives. We can just know that the energy is that way and choose to abide by it or not. So say yes to the date, see what it has to teach you, read the text message, but don't run off into their arms and expect that to fix everything. Venus retrograde is a time about you, of processing your past hurts and clearing space for the values that you want in your relationships moving forward. If you do the work, do the deep dive, make peace with your past, dive inward, give yourself all of the self-love in the world, you'll be at such a solid foundation to attract love into your life. That's what happened in my case. So back to fall 2018, after that, I went on these dates. No one was everyone exhibited red flags that I had been down before. I was like, I've dated this before. I'm going to switch my behavior, because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So it's like, why would I date these people when I've dated iterations of them before? So I really heavily, that fall, it was lonely. It was the only time I had really been like single or didn't have a crush in my entire life. I've had crushes since I was like 5 years old. And it was the first time that I was really just consciously pouring into myself, pouring into my craft, pouring into my creativity, giving myself love, and really just cutting off all of these red flags that really were kind of siphoning my energy. And by December, I found someone who didn't remind me at all of anyone I'd ever dated and didn't exhibit any of those red flags that I was so fearful of. Because I so thoroughly cleared out my past, I was energetically ready for something new, someone new. And it's the most healthy love I've ever encountered. It's with a fellow Pisces, which was a rule that I always had, which is ridiculous, of never dating another Pisces. And I think that's important with this transit as well, because Gemini, where Venus is retrograde right now, is about being open, being curious. And if we get stuck in this is my type, we just keep dating people that we've dated with different names and different faces, but the same behavior. Maybe it's that Gemini energy of opening your mind to something new that will allow you to move forward. So dating someone maybe a little bit outside of your typical comfort zone, and you never know what joy that could carry. But before focusing on that person, rather than doing, spells and manifesting them, I really want you to pull all that energy into yourself. And I know that's frustrating. Like, I'm so tired of being told to focus on myself. You've been told it because it's true. Only by pouring that love, pouring that energy into what sets your heart on fire, now will you manifest love. Like during that fall, I was romancing myself. I was taking myself on dates. I was learning how to cook. I was creating. I was passionate about my life. Anything that you want to manifest in a partner. So let's say you want a passionate love, you want a creative love, you want like a luxurious love. Create that now. Give bubble baths to yourself, drink wine for yourself, watch romantic movies. Kind of feel that energy and pull it more internally, and it will show up externally. Make this a time about processing your past, about pouring so much love into yourself, and don't worry about when they'll show up. They will show up. You will find love. It is most certainly going to happen in your life. But really allow this time to focus on you. Friends, I would love to hear what you thought of today's video, what you are excited about diving into during this Venus retrograde story for you. I so appreciate you for stopping by and for tuning in. Until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.